Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Jason. This is our Creation Homestead, and a lot of what we do here is canning, okay? Canning and preserving our food that we grow ourselves. And so today we've gotten a good bit of tomatoes over here on the counter. Angela Kay, the canning expert in this home, is going to show you how to can these tomatoes safely. Okay, here we go.
Okay, now this may not be how your granny canned tomatoes. I am going to show you how to raw pack tomatoes. And then they cook in the jar. They're only cooking one time, and you end up with a much better end product. So what you want to start out with, you want to start out with a big pot of water that has come to just a gentle boil. Then you want a sink full of cold water. You want a large bowl to cut up your tomatoes in. And you want tomatoes, of course.
You gotta have them tomatoes before you can can them.
Now, you want to get your water bath canner. It needs to be boiling right now, because this whole process isn't gonna take real long. So we've got it on boiling. Now, I'm showing you how to scald the tomatoes to get the skin off easily. So here's what you do. You don't take your knife down very far at all. Just the point. And just make a little X on the bottom of your tomato.
You're scoring the bottom of the tomato is what it's called.
See? And it's barely below the skin. You just want to score the skin. You don't want to cut into the meat real hard. You just want to score the skin. See? Now what we're going to do, we're going to put these tomatoes, don't overcrowd, just put about 4 tomatoes into your water. And because this isn't going to take long, you will see them start to split. You will see your skins start to split. See, you're already starting to see some cracking. It won't take long at all. See, there, he's already started to wrinkle where I scored him. So you want to get him out as quick as possible into your cold water, which I will add more cold water.
Need some more cold water in there.
Okay. Now I'm going to keep popping these tomatoes in here, scalding them, and getting them ready to peel, and then I'll show you how to peel, how easy it is to peel them. Okay, now we've got all of our tomatoes scalded, and see the skin's already wanting to peel off.
Yeah.
See, now this is all you do.
Just take your shirt off of it.
Yep, that's it. And now you want to cut your core out. Some tomatoes will have an extremely deep core. Some will have barely any core. This one has about a medium. So you want to cut your core out. If you see any little green spots like that are part of the core, go in there and cut them out.
Just because that's not exactly something you want to eat.
Yes. And if there's any little bad spots, any little stink bug stings, anytime you see that, those are stink bug stings. Just cut those out. Okay, now I'll take you over here, show you how I cut them up. Now you can take these and dice them into perfect dices. I don't mess with that. I just cut them in rough chunks, because you don't really need to stand there and dice them perfectly. Now, if you are one that loves perfectly diced tomatoes, go right ahead and perfectly dice them. But this is the way I do them. Now, I'll show you one more. See? It just peels right off.
And some varieties of tomatoes are different. They'll peel up better than others.
Yes.
And have less work or more work, depending on what they are.
Yep. Some of them will have, like this one has a few cracks that I have to cut out, and a few things that I have to cut out. But it's just fine. As you can tell, there's a variety of colors of tomatoes in here.
Yep.
I don't just can just one type of tomato. I can anything that comes on in my garden. Because, you know what? The more different types of tomatoes you have in a jar of tomatoes, the more flavorful they are.
It's a pretty jar of tomatoes, but then it's also very flavorful.
Yes. Now, we're going to clean up those stink bug stings. Our garden is covered in stink bugs this year.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we'll take it over here, cut it into some chunks. Now I'm just going to keep chunking these up, peeling and chunking these up, and then I'll show you what we do next. Here's our big bowl of beautiful chopped up tomatoes.
Beautiful tomatoes.
Gorgeous, all of those colors. I love all those colors.
Smells good too. It's a good smell.
So now we have our jars. These are sterilized. I washed them in the dishwasher. They're sterilized, but they don't have to be hot for this because you are putting a room temperature product into your jars, so they don't have to be hot. Now at this point, you want to make the decision if you want to can them with salt or without. I couldn't imagine canning them without salt, so you put a half a teaspoon per jar. Now if you are canning in quarts instead of pints, you will put a whole teaspoon. Now, this right here is what makes it water bath safe to can. Tomatoes they're up and down as far as acidity level. Some of these in here are extremely sweet tomatoes and don't have a whole lot of acidity level. Others are very acidic. You can fix that to make them water bath safe by adding bottled lemon juice. You do not want to do fresh because lemons are the same way. Lemon's acidity are all over the board. Bottled lemon juice is always the same.
No, it's the acid level in your fruit that makes it water bath safe, correct?
Yes.
So it's fruit like tomatoes and all fruits have enough acid, but tomatoes might be a little low.
Yes.
Another thing that affects that is soil.
Yes.
Your soil can affect that.
Your soil can be sweet or it can be acidic.
Yeah.
Ours tends to run a little sweet.
Right.
So you want to add, to correct that problem, you want to add a tablespoon. You can add it to the top of the jar or the bottom of the jar, it doesn't matter. You want to add a tablespoon. For a pint of tomatoes, you want to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. Now I'm just going to start spooning my tomatoes into my jars. Now some people will dice their tomatoes perfectly, squeeze out all of this juice, put in their perfectly diced tomatoes into their jar, and then top it off with hot water. I am not going to do that. I want my tomatoes canned in their natural juice.
More flavor.
Way more flavor. So you're going to see me put them in here and kind of push down just a little bit so it brings out some of the juice. Yeah. You want to leave a 1/2 inch headspace. Now I'm going to spoon some of that juice in there. I'm going to push these down. Now you still want to debubble. You still want to debubble even though these are not hot, even though you are raw packing, you still want to debubble. See how much it took that down? It took it way, way down. So now I'm going to add a little bit more juice. See, look at all this juice down here. Now would you throw that away when you can can your tomatoes in natural juice? Now you want to wipe down your rim really good. You don't want any food debris around the rim of your jar. Now we're going to take an extremely clean lid. Does not have to be hot. And we're going to put the lid on. Now we're just going to keep filling our jars and I'll show you what we do next. Now our water bath canner is, as you can see, our water is fully at a boil. Now we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. That will keep water deposits, hard water deposits off of your jars. So now we're going to start loading our jars into our canner. We got 8 pints out of all those tomatoes. We got 8 pints, which is actually wonderful. And as you can see, they're very pretty. They're very pretty. Now we're going to keep loading up our canner, and these are going to process, which means boil. They're going to boil in here for 40 minutes for pints. You do 40 minutes for pints. You do 45 minutes for quarts. You have to add an extra 5 minutes when you do quarts. The Ball electric water bath canner will only hold 7 quarts, but it will hold 8 pints. So this is going to be a full canner right here.
Literally full. It's on the max fill on.
We may have to dip some
dip a
water
little liquid out.
We'll dip a little bit of this water off, because the jars only have to be covered by an inch or 2. They don't have to be as much as this is. My canner was already full from other canning jobs today. So now we've got it down. We'll plop our last jar in. And now I will put my plate in. Now, a regular stovetop canner, water bath canner, does not have this plate. This is just an exclusive for the Ball electric water bath canner. It just holds everything in place so that your jars don't go juggling around everywhere. Now, you want to put your lid on and bring it back up to a boil. And once you see that it's back up to a boil, you will let it process for 40 minutes for pints, 45 minutes for quarts, and then you will turn off the heat, let it sit and rest for about 5 minutes, and then I'll show you what we do next. They've processed for 40 minutes, and now they've sit with the heat off for 5 minutes. And now we're ready to pull them out. Now, tomatoes do have a tendency to spew a little bit. It's just gonna happen. So try not to tip them at all.
Still look good though.
Now, that where the tomato juice is on the bottom and the tomatoes are on the top, that happens when you raw pack canned tomatoes. It's going to be just fine. As they cool, they will start to mix together a little more. They won't ever fully mix. You will have to wait until, you can wait till after the 24 hours and shake them together. I never do that. I just leave them alone. When I get ready to use them, I stir them together.
It's totally not necessary. They're fine.
They're just fine the way they are.
And they look great, Ange.
They are absolutely beautiful.
You did a good job.
Now you need to let them sit untouched. It's very important with tomatoes because they do have a tendency to spew. You want to leave them sit untouched. Now I'm going to dab the excess water off the tops of the jars, but do not touch that little popper in the middle because you will give it a false seal. You want to let them sit for 18 to 24 hours without touching them. After 18 to 24 hours, you can store them away. Okay, Angela's finishing that up over there. The tomatoes are looking good. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe to it, but especially if you're looking for canning videos, canning, gardening videos, right? Okay, that's what we do. Angela is a brilliant canner. She does a great job. And if you ever have any questions about canning, she's more than willing to help you out with that. She enjoys teaching you how to can, how to preserve your own food. So hey, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, especially if you're looking for these kinds of videos, okay? And again, my name is Jason. The brilliant one over there is Angela Kay. We love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. God bless you and goodbye.